Hello and welcome, family, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all family, your ways, and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. Thanks to every single person who has, sent us love donations, who has joined our Patreon. As we said, family, as long as we have the support, we will continue to provide this Wake Up Africa news to our people. Thanks to also those who have reached out about the possibilities of creating a continental channel. Family, there's so much going on behind the scenes. Continue to send us your prayers and your best wishes. And thanks to everyone who has joined the Unity communities. So far it's attracted a lot of there's a needy kind of unbalanced energy that has come in. So please just bear with me as we screen those people and try to just get everything in place. It will happen at the exact time that it's supposed to happen. Now, the one shocking thing, family, that happened during Elizabeth's funeral was the breaking of her wand. At the end of the service, everyone was like, what the? Family, it has now emerged that she was actually the oracle of the DRUIDs. She was the global oracle, family. And the DRUIDs, that's a whole Freemason vibe. That's a whole, blood sacrifice vibe, worshipping other, entities of other worlds. Very, very violent people. Of course, her reptilian bloodline, all of that. But she was a DRUID, family. She was initiated as a high priestess of the DRUIDs, almost at the very beginning of her reign. And she became their oracle. She became their leader. And that's how she took over, because this world has always been protected by, feminine oracles, family. They preach to you the male Jesus, but they're busy worshiping the Black Madonna and child. It has always been, safeguarded by a feminine principle, a feminine Messiah, a feminine order that has been totally erased from history. The women are the real power behind the throne, family. And that's why I say it's the end of an era. Can you imagine she was an oracle? I couldn't believe it. Now it makes sense why there's been so many rituals everywhere. So much child sacrifice everywhere. Why this thing spread across the world. It was a spiritual thing. And a lot of these people in those Masonic lodges were also DRUIDs. She was the spiritual leader of her people. And even before she was about to die, they disintegrated or whatever. They closed out the Knights of Malta. And the Knights of Malta was I think it was like a military organization or everything that was behind her. But that's where they got the Desmond Tutus of this world. Our own President Moi was part of that. Mandela was part of that. And many other leaders across the world. The personal soldiers, highest level soldiers. And I mean, above her is the whole Roman Catholic. That's a whole other vibe, family. But let's concentrate on her. Many people didn't know she was an oracle and a high priestess. Many people didn't even know she'd been initiated back then. It was something that was extremely hidden. And so the end of her is the end of Babylon. It's the end of an era in such a massive... I didn't even know how much of the end of an era it was until I saw that. And I'll try and put a picture here, but it's like at the end of the ceremony, when everything is said and done, they break her freaking witch's wand or whatever, and they place it on her coffin. That for me marked like the end of the end of the end, family. And now that she's gone, that she was like the gatekeeper of that energy. She was a gatekeeper of that kingdom. Charles is not gonna make it, family. He's been chosen as the poster boy, as the woke king of, the global reset, the new world order. But his hands are so dirty. And so right now, family, I don't know if you remember that Janet Jackson song. We're in a race between education and catastrophe. Like they are going to try and use the remnants of the Queen's power to try and bundle everyone, like they did our African presidents, into one bus to get us onto this bus of the New World Order. But as in their power is gone. And if you seek the truth, it is there. And Andrew and Charles are the same thing. They had the same friends. They like the same kind of situations. There is so much wickedness that has been done, family, because the entity that the Queen worshipped or that the Queen embodied, because now it explains why. Those reptilian stories, family, that she was like the head reptilian. And you know, people used to say she's super tall. Do you notice how big her coffin was? Did you notice that? I was like, I'm just saying, family. But she embodied that. She embodied that spirit, that outer world being, because it's not even beings of this world that have been running this world. I've done shows where I've talked about how, you know, and there's other people who have done excellent research on this. Go do your research while all this information is still there, family. Join our Patreon where I'm releasing a lot of information related to this. The information now is everywhere. They're being exposed left, right, and center. So many crazy rituals have taken place in Buckingham Palace. So much blood has been poured by this woman and what she represented. But now I understand why she was like the oracle. She was like the high priestess. And on taking that role, she was now able to embody and be taken over by this reptilians that took over the world. I know I'm going to sound crazy to those who don't get it, but if you get it, you know what I'm talking about. That's how she was able to, because she was the head. And they all, you know, and then they created all these Masonic lodges. Those were the secrets, family. And you know, when please check out my show where I did how Kenya's election was linked to her death. Because one of her major altars was here in Kenya. The other one was in South Africa. The other one was in Ghana. I wasn't even going to say South Africa. I was going to say Ghana. I guess one of them was South Africa. Even Gambia, where, remember when I went with Stoneman to the stone circles, he actually told me that some high-level beings, I don't know if the Queen was involved, but her representatives were there. And they did rituals and they switched around the stones, which totally scrambled what the stone circle represented. And they did heavy rituals, heavy sacrifices. That thing of blood sacrifice is over. That thing of human sacrifice is over, family. And everything is going to be exposed now. People are going to be so shocked. Many will suffer from cognitive dissonance and refuse to believe that that's what happened and, oh, the Queen was this perfect this and this perfect that. They had to feed those altars with human beings, with children. And that's been the spirit that has taken over. But this confirms, family, that Babylon has fallen. For her to step down with all that power that she was holding, Charles can't hold that power, so it's done. She would have needed to pass it on to another woman. Maybe she did in secret, who knows, but no. There was such a finality. I don't know if you guys felt it, but there was such a finality to her funeral. And here in Africa, we were just talking about how our African presidents were put in a bus. That's like all people focused on. People didn't even really watch. They didn't harvest. They were not able to harvest the energy they wanted to. And that's why, family, I don't even believe, I know she had to leave quick and in a hurry. She was told, you know, get out, get out. Because it wasn't even well planned. And I know some say she died last year, whenever. She may have not died exactly then, but they had to kill her narrative then. And I share all this to say, family, that now that they've killed that narrative, and Babylon is really like, Babylon is in a free fall. And these people are the most dangerous when they're falling. So stay prayed up. Get out of her, family. If you can, get out of Babylon. Babylon is not just the Western nations. Babylon is also the cities in Africa, these big, big cities where there's so many demonic strongholds, where those Masonic lodges exist. Move into the wilderness, move into like the rural areas, build your life, disconnect yourself as much as possible, because they're not going alone. They're definitely gonna try and put in this new world order and do all kinds of things. That's why they've been trying to open all these gates, demonic stargates, to bring in all these beings. Because that time is up. And those beings don't want to manifest through humans anymore. They want to show up themselves. Be on the right side of history. And if you have children, at least learn something for them. This is the real war, family. You may not see the bombs and the guns, but trust me, it is raging. And it's raging in here. As I've always told you, we're fighting for the group consciousness of our people, the group consciousness of the world. That is what they have done. That is what they've controlled for so long. And that is what has enabled them to do all the wicked things that they've been able to do and get away with. Babylon has fallen, family. And now that they've fallen, they won't be going quietly. So be wise in this season. Work on your spirituality. Work on expanding your mind as much as possible. Take in as much knowledge as you can. I've also shared a link on Patreon of over a dozen books on the colonial history in Africa. Well, actually, sorry, in Kenya. And how it was built, linked to building up these demonic altars, etc., etc. It's the end of an era, family. ERROR. It really is. Many fell with the jibby jab. And that was like their first shot. And I know they're going to try and come up with many, many other things. But family, we can also take control of this by coming together and continuously now changing our narrative. The narrative is shattered. The narrative spell we were under, the spell of sleep, the spell of shame, the spell of we are nothing has been totally decimated. Africa has found its voice again, and we're speaking again. And my prayer right now is that those that have the economic power or the whatever blessings will come together and create a space for us to develop this new narrative. Because the independence struggle is just beginning. A lot of our people are in religious psychosis, family, a deep religious psychosis. A lot of our people are suffering from cognitive dissonance. A lot of our people are suffering from Stockholm syndrome. They desperately need a spiritual rescue. And all we need to do is just keep building the momentum and the consciousness of our new narrative and break down. You see, what happened is that because of the way our African presidents were broken down, people didn't even care what happened with the funeral. People were all focused on how Africa felt, what had happened to Africa, to the point where it has even entered mainstream media. They've had to discuss how unhappy Africa is and kind of trying to explain to their people. But Elizabeth was the DRUID oracle, family. This world is always ruled by an oracle. There's always a high-level oracle. In Queen of Sheba's times, it was the Queen of Sheba. I don't even want to get into that story. We're in a new dispensation. The Queen of the South is back. And that's why you're seeing Babylon scrambling like a fool. And all the truths will come out now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, tuko pamoja.